My name's Jake Hissitt. I am the CEO of Stob AI. This is the first in a 5-part course, which we will be doing for the next 10 weeks. And in this 10 weeks, we're going to cover everything from how to use AI automation for marketing, how to use AI automation for sales, as well as business operations. I'll also introduce you to a few tools which I believe are the backbone for any modern business or anybody building teams. If you do have questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. If I stop and ask for questions, you're welcome to turn your microphone on and ask me questions. The purpose for me today is to get to know you guys, get to know what works, what doesn't, and really understand how I can help assist your journey in AI automation. So the core structure that we're going to be going through for the next 10 weeks consists of 5 different parts. It starts with the operating system. So just full disclosure, we are an official partner for make.com now. So we're actually a partner of make.com. If you don't know what make.com is, you have my permission to Google it right now, but we're an official partner. They're valued at about 13.2 billion US dollars. So I use make.com as the backbone of all of my automations. In the second week, we'll be looking at how to improve your sales infrastructure. That comes with creating an AI sales assistant that works 24/7 whilst you sleep. The third presentation, which will be on week 6, will be about automating your marketing, how to automate marketing, produce content at scale, and build a marketing engine for your business. And then thirdly is about how to run operations within your business and all the processes that come around that. So like it could be anything from e-commerce, client onboarding, and anything like chasing invoices. We'll go into that in more detail in a moment. And then we have the last and remaining part of this course, which is the sort of final thoughts on why this would be beneficial for you to implement right now, and what the benefits of being an early adopter to this technology will give your business as leverage in a market. So let me start week 1 with the operating system for the 21st century business. So we'll go through, it will take about 30 minutes, and I'll stop as well for Q&A at the end, as well as maybe ask some questions in the middle just to make sure that everybody understands. But we'll start by looking at what the problem is and the solution, and then how to automate our way out of those problems, and then how easy this is actually to do in the modern day with the technology that's available and also free to use for your business, so you could get started right away after this masterclass. Okay, the automated backbone. So the business landscape is rapidly changing. In 2025, we're faced with a lot of economic pressures, costs, inflation. It's getting harder to grow and scale, whether you're a business or whether you're building a team. We have also seen that there's been a massive adoption of AI. I don't think anybody in this masterclass right now would disagree with me. 65% of businesses globally have adopted AI specifically to reduce manual or repetitive tasks within their operations, PwC 2025. What we do at Stob AI is we put the power in your hand. So we build these AI automation systems for your business that will enable businesses to accomplish more with tighter budgets, stay ahead of their competitors, and solve problems efficiently and with confidence. Now, we don't have to build it for you. You can go away after this masterclass and do it yourself. So the tools that I'll introduce to you today are mostly free. Now, the traditional way of doing business is by having humans do the manual entry, having research information. Maybe you need to look at moving things in a CRM system, segmenting data, chasing Google spreadsheets for invoices, and then as well having a team to execute on those tasks. And then once you've executed it, it will go back to either a database or somebody to crunch those numbers. Now, this is slow. It involves long working hours. People spend a lot of money on team members to do this effectively. It's not quick either. It's quite slow. But there is a new way to do this. And the new way is to scale an AI workforce. Now, that might sound intimidating, but I'm actually going to show you how to do that today. It's a lot easier than you would think. So in this example for marketing, we have automated data entry. We have the AI research agent that might do things like segmentation or find out trends within this population of people, that then will create a campaign automatically based upon this data, and then the AI will effectively distribute this strategy to the audience, and will also integrate reporting that will go back into adapting the strategy and updating the database. What this shows is that we can automate the bottlenecks, we can scale and grow without headcount, and we can deploy this for marketing, sales, and operations. Again, it seems like super intimidating right now, but by the end of this masterclass, you'll be able to do this for your own business to a varying degree. So how is business changing? Well, we're switching from a world where everything's manual data entry, manual segmentation, to a world that's automated, from a fragmented ecosystem of different software tools to an integrated one. From a reactive, where we have data that's coming in that we have to think about, to something that we can proactively predict and create new forms of information. It could be emails, it could be content at scale. So we're moving from this world that's very slow, it involves a lot of humans, to a world where it can happen instantaneously whilst we sleep. And one of the biggest reasons for this is actually the integration of different software platforms through the API of these different software platforms. So if those of you are not familiar, when you connect two pieces of software together, you have to do it through the API, which means the application programming interface. So it's how two different apps talk to one another. So the great news there is that you've already got a system. If you've already got software tools, you've already got software that has data. If we connect those through the API, we can actually speed up those processes manually. But at this point, I want you to ask yourself, how many tools do you use on a daily basis to keep up with your work? It could be email, it could be CRM systems like HubSpot, it could be updating spreadsheets for invoices. Somebody's not paid, you have to update that spreadsheet, take their email address, chase them down manually. How much of your work is repeatable? If it's repeatable, it's most likely automatable. Okay, so automation is equal to profit. So everybody that gets involved in AI and automation is probably going to see a massive return on their investment. And the reason for this is because it will save you time. If something's repeatable and we can remove that from your to-do list as a task, then you're going to have more time. And when you have more time, you can focus on those levers in your business that really help you move quicker, that move the needle. And that lever is acting, therefore, on the cash flow of your business, which is producing a rise in your scalability. And not only is it more efficient, but now you might not need an assistant to be able to do that. So you're actually able to scale without the need to increase your headcount. So if time is money, and we can make ourselves 300% more productive, then in essence, we can make ourselves 300% more profit. Oh, wrong way. Okay, so I just want to talk to you. A lot of people here are at this stage. So let me tell you, I've worked with a lot of different businesses. Most people are using ChatGPT. It's 2025. But ChatGPT is the assistant stage of AI. And we believe that in the next 5 years, the people that automate will have the biggest advantage because they're able to move through these different stages into automated workflows, fully automated processes, and then finally a fully automated business that humans will oversee the AI agents that are actually executing the work. Now, usually when I tell people that at this stage, people freak out a little bit. They think, okay, how can I trust that the AI is going to be able to execute this task appropriately? How can I trust that the content that the AI produces? And as always, my response is you must keep a human in the loop, especially before testing. There are circumstances where human oversight is reduced, but generally speaking, humans overseeing a team of AI agents will ensure that the quality is good and that the tasks can be executed appropriately. Okay, So make.com, this is my backbone for all of my business and the businesses that I work with. If you haven't Googled make.com because you might have come a little bit later, feel free to do so. But effectively, it is a drag and drop automation tool that allows you to connect different parts of your technology, your software together. So you've got Gmail, OpenAI, and Slack in this case. That could be an email comes in, a summary of that email is created, and then it's forwarded to you on a direct messaging channel like Slack. You could even use Line if you're in other countries like Thailand, WhatsApp if you want to move that to WhatsApp for personal reasons. There's many different things that you can do, and it's used by big corporations globally, as well as small, medium enterprises and solo entrepreneurs. Now, I'm just going to stop the presentation for a moment, and I'm going to show you just how quick and easily you can build an AI automated workflow. So this will take me about 5 minutes, but we're actually going to build a live example right now. So the example that I'm going to show you today is we're going to build a follow-up for this webinar. So if I open this, I've got a Google Sheets, okay? And I created this form, this Google form, just before the webinar. So this is actually the form. If you respond, it's going to go to this Google Sheet, okay? Once we've got the answers from Google Sheets, we can read those answers on make.com. So I've logged into my Google Sheet here, and I can see I've got the spreadsheet ID. So if I just type in webinar, I find the spreadsheet, and then I'm looking for the responses, and I press save. Okay, cool. And we'll say choose all. I then want to build an AI that's going to write an email to respond to the people that fill in my form. So when you fill in my form, you're going to write your name and you're going to write your email, and then I'll be able to reply to you with an AI. And let me say this, rank the webinar from 1 to 10 here, okay? Just a simple question. And then I'll send this link in the chat so you can actually fill out the form. But firstly, let me build my AI agent. Okay, so my agent here is connected to my ChatGPT account. So I've got a lot of different ones. I will use this one today. And then I can select the model that I want to reply to the email with. So if you're familiar with ChatGPT, you know that there's a lot of different models. Inside of this, you have the AI model, for ChatGPT here. I need to zoom out, pardon me. And then I can just select. On this occasion, I'm actually going to select GPT-4 Mini. Now, the reason I have chosen to select GPT-4 Mini on this occasion is because the amount of data that I'm going to give to the AI is minimal. I will actually tell the AI what it does. So I will say, you are a assistant for reviewing and sending emails following a webinar from Stob AI. Okay, so now when we say system or developer, we've programmed that AI to understand its function and what it does. Next, we're going to want it to be able to write an email. Okay, so your job is to write an email to the respondents. Sorry if my English is bad, is it dense? Of the feedback form for the webinar. Okay, great. And then in here, we want to give it information. So we're going to say, write an email body. So we just want the text to the respondent and say thank you for attending. Okay, now we can give it the information, so we can say name, and since we're collecting the name in the form, we can just look for that, and we can see name here. We can say, did you like the webinar? and then we can give the answer to the did you like the webinar here. I'll just put some speech marks around this to improve my prompt. And then I will add some more information here, such as webinar ranking out of 10. So I can't remember what I called this one. I'll have to check. I think it's probably this. And then other feedback here. Okay. Ooh. There we go. And then we can give the actual other feedback there. So immediately you can see we're giving this AI the options or the information to be able to create an email. Now I need to send the email. So to send the email, I'm going to want to log in to my Outlook. You can also use Gmail. There's a lot of different applications to choose from inside make.com. So you can connect all different parts of your ecosystem. You could use HubSpot, you can access ChatGPT, you can access even other AI models as well, like Cloud, Shopify if you've got an e-commerce business, and I'll show you some more examples in a moment. But right now, we're going to create this email here. So we'll say webinar follow-up as the subject line. The content is going to be the result of this module, and the recipient is going to be the email that is filled in. The name is going to be the name of the person who filled out the form. And if I just hit send, there we will have our first response. So this is going to run on an interval of every 15 minutes. I could set this. And what I'll do now is, I know there's a little hack here that this email module actually prefers to be sent in HTML. So I just need to go back and I need to tell my assistant here, output email body in HTML, which is the hack for the Outlook experience. So, okay, here we go. That is an AI automated workflow. So we have watching the responses, and I'll just share this right now. When somebody responds to this, there we go. I'll put it in the chat. You can fill it out if you want to. When somebody responds, we'll be able to then write an email to that person, thanking them for joining the webinar, and send them an email immediately. Now, this is, I'm going to switch it on. So if you fill out that form, in about 15 minutes, you should get a response from me. So if anybody has time to fill out the form, we will check back in on that in a moment. I'm going to just pause right now and ask, is there any questions? Because I'm going to jump into a few more examples. Okay, I'll take
sorry to ask, how do you know there's a few things that you did there that happened quite quickly.
Sure.
So for example, in number one, you said was the role was a developer, then it was user, then it was assistant. How would one go about getting guidance to know which one of those you pick? And how do you do things like click on the code? Where did you pick that up from? Are these all buttons that are in there, or is there information and advice that helps you make that decision as you learn it for yourself?
I have learned on the job. I've been developing on make.com now for over 2 years. Again, we've got a roster of clients. So to answer the HTML output, I know because I've built a lot of connections with email. On Gmail, you don't need to do that, but on Outlook, you need to output into HTML. So that's just born out of experience. But let me answer your question about the roles, because that's a great question that I think everybody should know the answer to. So the roles, the simple way to probably find out beyond asking me in this webinar right now is to ask ChatGPT. But effectively, the developer and the system role set the behavior, the understanding, the context for what the role of this AI agent is doing. So this is a very simple agent that we're building. It's a responder for the webinar. The user is the action. So it's the action that job role will take. So it's to write the email body to the respondent to say, thank thank you for attending the webinar. Okay, so this is the action that we want the agent to take. And then the assistant role here is, because I know that that output is in HTML, this assistant acts as the assistant to the user. So it will transform the output into some parameters that we have set. And it's just a basic overview to help conceptualize what each of these roles do. And when you work with AI agents, they are generally comprised of system, user, and assistant roles. They vary slightly platform to platform. For example, if you're using Perplexity or Sonar or Llama, the models that they use, they may have different setups about how you can use them. But generally speaking, the rule of thumb is to set the system, then the user, and then an assistant if it's needed. Assistants aren't always needed. Does that answer your question, Danny?
Yes, that's great. And I love you said you just asked ChatGPT.
Yeah, welcome to 2025. So I'm not sure if anybody's responded. We've got a response. Who is it? It's you. Okay, brilliant. Right, let's test this and send it. So usually when I test, I would put my own email address in here, okay? Because if I'm going to deploy this on a client, you never know. It might not be perfect the first time round. But since we've got somebody in, and it's you, Danny, let's find out how it goes, okay? So there may be some bugs, but that's nothing that we can't fix. Okay, we got a couple more. Okay, we're getting more responses. Okay, brilliant. Okay, let me see. So this might not be perfect. I'm happy to see. Yeah, this is a typical problem, but there you go. So this here is the output. So Gio, who sat on this call, has just filled this in, and the AI agent has thanked him for attending the webinar, and he's thrilled. Our agent is thrilled that Gio has ranked this 8 out of 10. They're invaluable insights, and we look forward to speaking with him in the future. This has been sent from my Gmail. I know it's a slight, typical, classic ChatGPT error in there, which is sometimes it includes a bit of the code. So I'd come to my assistant down here, and I'd ask the agent, I'd say, please remove from the output. I might even change it to make the assistant there, and then say output the email body in HTML. Okay, and there we go. So that is a basic AI agent. If you haven't filled it in already, in 15 emails, in 15 minutes, you'll get a response. It's a bit of a untuned, unrefined version. I'll show you some more complicated things in a moment, some really fine-tuned stuff, but I'll just leave that running in the background and we'll jump back into the presentation. So right there is an example of how to create an AI automated workflow where the agent is resolving having to respond to people that have joined the webinar. So it could save me loads of time. I get to collect your information as well as send you a personalized follow-up. The best thing about make.com is that you have thousands of APIs to choose from. So we just used Outlook, but you can see in here, we could do monday.com, LinkedIn, Instagram, WordPress, Telegram, Google Drive. You have access to all of these different tools and you can integrate them all together. Where I think that is great for a lot of people to start is to write draft emails. So in this example, it's semi-automated. In the example that I just showed, because it's a demo, I'm sending that content out live to you, okay? So it's a bit untuned and untested. In a real world situation, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to send out content that hasn't been either optimized or fine-tuned. So we fine-tune in the AI agent. In this case, it's an email drafter. So if somebody sends me an email on Outlook, I'll get the information, I'll send it to the agent, I will then create a draft, and then once I come into my inbox, all of my emails are scheduled draft I only have to read them and then I can send the reply. The reason it's very powerful is because I'll have trained this agent on what I do and my job so that it will be able to respond or write that draft email in context of understanding what I do as a business. So there's human oversight in the fact that it only writes a draft, and I read that draft. And once I've read that draft, I fine tune this agent until it's perfect. And once it's perfect, I will be able to then either rely, trust it, or fully automate that process. Now, there's a couple of other pieces of software that I want to introduce you to, and one of those is another platform called Airtable. Again, you can actually create a free version of Airtable, but when you connect make.com with Airtable with ChatGPT, this is where you can really start to create a very powerful AI automated system that I'll refer to as an AI workforce. Because you can store data in Airtable, you have the ability to give ChatGPT, the AI, a knowledge base. You can give it information, and it can use that information to create content that's either personalized, to respond to tasks, chase invoices, whatever information you put inside Airtable. Airtable is like a supercharged version of Google Sheets. So like in the same way I could take different information from that Google Sheet and then pass it to the agent to write a personalized email, you can now effectively move all of your Google Sheets into this technology called Airtable. And once you've done that, you can really start to create some very impressive automations. So this is actually a real automation that we run for different brands. This is Havas Media Agency, Hick Micro, and Hover Air. So these are two e-commerce brands. And I'm going to talk you through what this does, because this is an agent that is specifically designed to manage their comment sections for their Instagram in this case. So the comment will come in, we will pass that down this chain. I won't go into all of it. We will analyze the sentiment of that comment. We will then decide, is this a question or is it a normal comment? If it's a question, we will look in our Airtable, our knowledge base, to say, do we have this question and its answer existing inside of our knowledge base? If we do, then we're able to pass this information to ChatGPT to respond to the customer live on Instagram. So it will take that comment that's come in and then it will respond to the customer on Instagram. If we don't have the answer to the question, then what we're able to do is store that as an answer and tell a human, hey, there's a question that we don't have the answer to, please, can you reply? And once the human replies, then we'll send the comment that they've replied. And what we're doing here is we're really reducing the amount of effort that a social media manager needs to put in to respond to customers on the social media channels. And to, again, just quickly jump out of this and show you what that looks like, it looks like this. So we can see here that we've got several different channels. It could be Facebook Australia, Instagram Australia, UK Facebook, and UK Instagram. We can see the sentiment of these comments. We can see what the original person said and how we responded. And we can also leave links to the information that the user could use to potentially buy the product. So this person was asking for amount. And then we're saying, if you want to find out where you can buy this, then you can go to this link where to buy. So the agent has access to those URLs because it has a knowledge base of all the different products as well as the website. So this is what it looks like. We can see comments that haven't been replied to. We can give it a knowledge base of the FAQ, and we can even look on a dashboard to see which channels have positive and negative sentiment. So that's how you can link Airtable and make.com together to build something very, very powerful. We won't spend much time there because we're going to jump back into stuff that's more applicable. But what I want to say at this point is that every single business has workflows. So if we've got a job, if we're working in the company, if we own the business, then we have workflows. We have tasks, do this, step 1, step 2, step 3. Most businesses aren't automated, but they do have workflows that can be automated. So here's some real examples that we've built as a business that I'm just going to share with you that are more or less quite simple. So these are simple ones that you can do today. So in this example, someone is filling in a content idea on monday.com. We're then sending that to ChatGPT to make that a more robust piece of content before automatically publishing that to LinkedIn, Twitter, X, Facebook, and also the WordPress site. So the trigger here is the idea on monday.com. The creation of that content is happening inside ChatGPT, and then the publishing of that content is across the different channels. So we can do it for different things. So the first example there was in marketing, but we could also apply that to business operations. So for example, in this, somebody hasn't paid their invoice on time. That's the trigger to generate the response. Once we know that they haven't paid their invoice on time, we can create the link, put the link in an email, send that email to the customer to pay, and then update the CRM system to say this person has been sent an email, and we can notify everybody in the business on Slack. We've got many more examples here. So this one is somebody has left a comment on Instagram or Facebook. We're actually using a different application called ManyChat to respond, and then we're updating those as active leads inside a Google Sheet before updating their CRM system, which is MailChimp, and then sending them an email via Outlook. We can do it for advertisements. We can do it for, again, payment operations or onboarding of new customers. When somebody books a time, we can automatically add that to a Google Calendar. We can do e-commerce marketing, so we can segment data with AI and then run different campaigns, such as A/B testing campaigns for customers that use Shopify. We can do more email marketing. So there's a newsletter tool called Beehive. When people want content creating or when they want to distribute the content, they might enter their idea in Airtable. We build that as a newsletter. We then extract the information and we send that to Beehive to be sent to all of the people in their mailing list. And again, we can use social media posting example, but in this case, we can actually store that data on Airtable. So Airtable will act in this case as a content management store and hub. Okay, so I want to show you, when we're about 5 minutes left of this webinar, but I want to give you the inspiration to build something today. So why is it important that everybody should learn about make.com and the technology? Ultimately, in 2025, if you're not automating, you're leaking money. So manual work, it doesn't necessarily need to be done. If you miss follow-ups, you potentially miss revenue. Every time you repeat a task, which could be automated, you could automate it and you're paying for that in time. And businesses that automate now will not only be faster, but will gain a competitive edge over their competitors that don't use AI-powered automated workflows. Where to start your build? I would again like to frame it in the trigger, transform, and output. And you can use these different kind of tools I'll introduce to Airtable, make.com, and ChatGPT. Again, this one has a free version. This also has a free version. And I think that there may be some free credits for setting up ChatGPT access through the OpenAI Playground. Now, here's a more complicated example, but what I really want to get across in this example is the trigger, the transform, and the output. So I actually, when I create content for my business, I do it through a voice note on Slack. A different AI module called Perplexity will research that topic for me. ChatGPT will write it, and I will store that in the Airtable, so in like a Google Sheet. Then I will tell the people on monday.com, hey, we've created some new content. And when the appropriate trigger comes, we will then distribute that content across different social media channels. Now, what that actually looks like on make.com, it looks like this. So we're writing that with research agents, we're storing that information, and then we're passing it through all of the different APIs. What I would like to add is that if you build this kind of format, it doesn't have to be for social media, but it will be the first and the last system that you'll need to run your business, because this gives you the power to create knowledge bases as well as integrate all the different components or software stack of your business together. The use cases for this go beyond marketing. We've got marketing, we've got sales, customer service, and e-commerce, operations, and project management. That's generally where we at Stob AI excel. It's our background, it's our experiences, it's what we work in. So we have a lot of experience in these fields. However, there are other things that are not mentioned in here, such as data analytics, reporting, which could all also be done with the same software stack of make.com, Airtable, and ChatGPT. So in conclusion, I'd like to say thank you for attending. I'm Jake Hissitt, the CEO of Stob AI. We help teams and enterprises scale without increasing their headcount, and we mostly specialize in systems for sales, marketing, and operations. We've run 200 plus projects across 53 countries at this point, saved millions of hours, integrated thousands of different pieces of software, and we're a certified make.com partner. What we do is we build an AI automation layer in people's businesses that helps them scale their content, sales, and operations. And thanks for attending. And as a gift, if you use this coupon on our stob.ai website, you'll be able to download any template for free. So if you go to stob.ai /collections, you'll be able to download any template for free with this coupon code. So if you haven't, screenshot it now and you can use it later. Next week, I'll be showing people how to scale their businesses and create a full-time sales agent that will outreach to people, update your CRM, and also send follow-up emails to people to increase conversion. So if there's any questions, I would like to take any questions that anybody has right now. Feel free to write them in the chat. We can always go backwards and forwards, and I can definitely show you more examples from inside make.com of how we're automating businesses.